Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name? Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we've reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. There comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me.
You better do what they say.
Get yourself up on deck and let's keep this as civil as possible.
The sooner you leave, the sooner we can move on.
This is where they want you. Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
You finally arrived, but our records don't show from where. Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release. Head on in.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours. Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be? Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct. Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
I'm fine, thank you. What can I do for you?
I'm an officer of the Imperial Legion. Move along. We have garrisons at Fort Pelagiad in Pelagiad, Hawkmouth Fort in Ebonheart, Fort Moonmouth in Balmora, Fort Buckmouth in Ildrun, and Fort Darius in Gnesis. Were you looking to join the Imperial Legion? All the garrisons are presently at full strength, except, perhaps, the Death's Head Legion at Fort Darius in the West Gash near the village of Gnesis. If you're interested, you'll have to talk to General Darius there.
You'll go no further until you have your papers.
Take your papers off the table and go see Captain Gravius.
For release, by Emperor Euroseptime 7th degree, to the district of Verdun Fel in the province of Morrowind. Name, Aida race, Dark Elf class, Spouse Ward. Signed, Secutia Sir Gala agent of the Satanine Imperial Census and Excise. 16th of last seed 3E 427. I'm fine, thank you. What can I do for you? The Imperial Legion provides security for the Census and Excise offices here in Satanine. The troopers you see here are assigned to guard duty here, and the troopers outside, in Satanine, they regard officers of the law.
Continue through to the next building and talk to Celes Gravius.
Risk. Don't think I've forgotten our wager. I want this dagger sharp as a scamp's claw by morning. Gansil. The Firmament. By Falk. The stars of Tamriel are divided into 13 constellations. 3 of them are the major constellations, known as the Guardians. These are the Warrior, the Mage, and the Thief. Each of the Guardians protects its 3 charges from the 13th constellation, the Serpent. When the sun rises near one of the constellations, it is that constellation's season. Each constellation has a season of approximately 1 month. The Serpent has no season, for it moves about in the heavens, usually threatening one of the other constellations. The Warrior. The warrior is the first guardian constellation and he protects his charges during their seasons. The warrior's own season is last seed when his strength is needed for the harvest. His charges are the lady, the steed, and the lord. Those born under the sign of the warrior are skilled with weapons of all kinds, but prone to short tempers. The Midge. The Midge is a guardian constellation whose season is Rain's Hand when Magicka was first used by men. His charges are the Apprentice, the Golem, and the Ritual. Those born under the Midge have more Magicka and talent for all kinds of spellcasting, but are often arrogant and absent-minded. The Thief. The Thief is the last guardian constellation, and her season is the darkest month of Evening Star. Her charges are the Lover, the Shadow, and the Tower. Those born under the sign of the Thief are not typically thieves, though they take risks more often and only rarely come to harm. They will run out of luck eventually, however, and rarely live as long as those born under other signs. The Serpent. The serpent wanders about in the sky and has no season, though its motions are predictable to a degree. No characteristics are common to all who are born under the sign of the serpent. Those born under this sign are the most blessed and the most cursed. The Lady. The Lady is one of the warrior's charges and her season is hard fire. Those born under the sign of the Lady are kind and tolerant. The Steed. The Steed is one of the warrior's charges and her season is mid-year. Those born under the sign of the Steed are impatient and always hurrying from one place to another. The Lord. The Lord's season is first seed and he oversees all of Tamriel during the planting. Those born under the sign of the Lord are stronger and healthier than those born under other signs. The Apprentice. The Apprentice's season is sun's height. Those born under the sign of the Apprentice have a special affinity for magic of all kinds, but are more vulnerable to magic as well. The Atronic. The Atronic, often called the Golem, is one of the Midge's charges. Its season is sun's dusk. Those born under this sign are natural sorcerers with deep reserves of magicka, but they cannot generate magicka of their own. The Ritual. The Ritual is one of the Midge's charges and its season is Morning Star. Those born under this sign have a variety of abilities depending on the aspects of the moons and the divans. The Lover. The Lover is one of the Thief's charges and her season is Sun's Dawn. Those born under the sign of the Lover are graceful and passionate. The Shadow. The Shadow's season is second. Seed. The Shadow grants those born under her sign the ability to hide in shadows. A Brief History of the Empire. Part 1. By Stronic Cathoged III, Imperial Historian. Before the rule of Tiber Septime, all Tamriel was in chaos. The poetresses called that period of continuous unrest days and nights of blood and venom. The kings were a petty lot of grasping tyrants, who fought Tiber's attempts to bring order to the land. But they were as disorganized as they were dissolute, and the strong hand of Septime brought peace forcibly to Tamriel. The year was 2E896. The following year, the emperor declared the beginning of a new era. Thus began the third era, year Ot. For 38 years, the Emperor Tiber reigned supreme. It was a lawful, pious, and glorious age, when justice was known to one and all, from serf to sovereign. On Tiber's death, it reigned for an entire fortnight as if the land of Tamriel itself was weeping. The emperor's grandson, Pelagius, came to the throne. Though his reign was short, he was as strong and resolute as his father had been in Tamriel. Could have enjoyed a continuation of the Golden Age. Alas, an unknown enemy of the Septime family hired that accursed organization of cutthroats, the Dark Brotherhood, to kill the Emperor Pelagius I as he knelt at prayer at the Temple of the One in the Imperial City. Pelagius I's reign lasted less than 3 years. Pelagius had no living children, so the crown imperial passed to his first cousin, the daughter of Tiber's brother Agnarith. Kintyra, former queen of Sylvaner, assumed the throne as Kintyra I. Her reign was blessed with prosperity and good harvests, and she herself was an avid patroness of art, music, and dance. Kintyra's son was crowned after her death, the first emperor of Tamriel to use the imperial name Ural. Ural was the great lawmaker of the Septime dynasty and a promoter of independent organizations and guilds. Under his kind but firm hand, the Fighters' Guild and the Mages' Guild increased in prominence throughout Tamriel. His son and successor Ural II reigned for 18 years, from the death of Ural I in 3 × 10^64 to Pelagius II's accession in 3 × 10^82. Tragically, the rule of Ural II was cursed with blights, plagues, and insurrections. The tenderness he inherited from his father did not serve Tamriel well, and little justice was done. Pelagius II inherited not only the throne from his father, but the debt from the latter's poor financial and judicial management. Pelagius dismissed all of the elder council, and allowed only those willing to pay great sums to resume their seats. He encouraged similar acts among his vassals, the kings of Tamriel, and by the end of his 17-year reign, Tamriel had returned to prosperity. His critics, however, have suggested that any advisor possessed of wisdom but not of gold had been summarily ousted by Pelagius. This may have led to some of the troubles his son Antiochus faced when he in turn became emperor. Antiochus was certainly one of the more flamboyant members of the usually austere Septime family. He had numerous mistresses and nearly as many wives, and was renowned for the grandeur of his dress and his high good humor. Unfortunately, his reign was rife with civil war, surpassing even that of his grandfather Ural II. The War of the Isle in 3E110, 12 years after Antiochus. Assumed the throne, nearly took the province of Somerset Isle away from Tamriel. The united alliance of the kings of Somerset and Antiochus only managed to defeat King Organ of the island kingdom of Piondonia due to a freak storm. Legend credits the Sigic Order of the Isle of Ardian with the sorcery behind the Tempest. The story of Kintyra II, heiress to her father Antiochus' throne, is certainly one of the saddest tales in imperial history. Her first cousin Ural, son of Queen Padma of Solitude, accused Kintyra of being a bastard, alluding to the infamous decadence of the imperial city during her father's reign. When this accusation failed to stop her coronation, Ural bought the support of several disgruntled kings of High Rock, Skyrim, and Morrowind, and with Queen Padma's assistance, he coordinated 3 attacks on the Septime Empire. The first attack occurred in the Iliac Bay region, which separates High Rock and Hammerfall. Kintyra's entourage was massacred and the Empress taken captive. For 2 years, Kintyra II languished in an imperial prison believed to be somewhere in Glenpoint or Glenmoriel before. She was slain in her cell under mysterious circumstances. The second attack was on a series of imperial garrisons along the coastal Morrowind Islands. The Empress Consort Condon Erinx fell defending the forts. The third and final attack was a siege of the imperial city itself, occurring after the Elder Council had split up the army to attack western High Rock and eastern Morrowind. The weakened government had little defense against Ural's determined aggression, and capitulated after only a fortnight of resistance. Ural took the throne that same evening and proclaimed himself Ural III, Emperor of Tamriel. The year was 3E121. Thus began the War of the Red Diamond, described in Volume 2 of the series. A Brief History of the Empire. Part 2. By Stronic Cathoged III, Imperial Historian. Volume I of this series described in brief the lives of the first 8 emperors of the Septime dynasty, beginning with the glorious Tiber Septime and ending with his great-great-great-great-grandniece Kintyra II. Kintyra's murder in Glenpoint while in captivity is considered by some to be the end of the pure strain of Septime blood in the imperial family. Certainly it marks the end of something significant. Ural III not only proclaimed himself Emperor of Tamriel, but also Ural Septime III, taking the eminent surname as a title. In truth, his surname was Matriarcho from his father's line. In time, Ural III was deposed and his crimes reviled, but the tradition of taking the name Septime as a title for the Emperor of Tamriel did not die with him. For 6 years, the War of the Red Diamond, which takes its name from the Septime family's famous badge, tore the empire apart. The combatants were the 3 surviving children of Pelagius II Potma, Sepphoris, and Magnus in their various offspring. Potma, of course, supported her son Ural III, and had the combined support of all of Skyrim and northern Morrowind. With the efforts of Sepphoris and Magnus, however, the province of High Rock turned coat. The provinces of Hammerfell, Somerset Isle, Valenwood, Elsewhere, and Black Marsh were divided in their loyalty, but most kings supported Sepphoris and Magnus. In 3E127, Ural III was captured at the Battle of Achidag in Hammerfell. En route to his trial in the imperial city, a mob overtook his prisoner's carriage and burned him alive within it. His captor and uncle continued on to the imperial city, and by common acclaim was proclaimed Sepphoris I, Emperor of Tamriel. Sepphoris' reign was marked by nothing but war. By all accounts, he was a kind and intelligent man, but what Tamriel needed was a great warrior, and he, fortunately, was that. It took an additional 10 years of constant warfare for him to defeat his sister Potma, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude, who died in the siege of her city-state in the year 137. Sepphoris survived his sister by only 3 years. He never had time during the war years to marry, so it was his brother, the 4th child of Pelagius II, who assumed the throne. The Emperor Magnus was already elderly when he took up the imperial diadem, and the business of punishing the traitorous kings of the War of the Red Diamond drained much of his remaining strength. Legend accuses Magnus' son and heir Pelagius III of patricide, but that seems highly unlikely for no other reason than that Pelagius was king of Solitude following the death of Potma, and seldom visited the imperial city. Pelagius III, sometimes called Pelagius the Mad, was proclaimed emperor in the 145th year of the Third Era. Almost from the start, his eccentricities of behavior were noted at court. He embarrassed dignitaries, offended his vassal kings, and on one occasion marked the end of an imperial grand ball by attempting to hang himself. His long-suffering wife was finally awarded the regency of Tamriel, and Pelagius III was sent to a series of healing institutions and asylums until his death in 3E153 at the age of 34. The Empress Regent of Tamriel was proclaimed Empress Kateria I upon the death of her husband. Some who do not mark the end of the Septime bloodline with the death of Kintyra II consider the ascendancy of this dark elf woman the true mark of its decline. Her defenders, on the other hand, assert that though Kateria was not descended from Tiber, the son she had with Pelagius was, so the imperial chain did continue. Despite racist assertions to the contrary, Kateria's 46-year reign was one of the most celebrated in Tamriel's history. Uncomfortable in the imperial city, Kateria traveled extensively throughout the empire such as no emperor ever had since Tiber's day. She repaired much of the damage that previous emperors' broken alliances and bungled diplomacy created. The people of Tamriel came to love their empress far more than the nobility did. Kateria's death in a minor skirmish in Black Marsh is a favorite subject of conspiracy-minded historians. The sage Montalius' discovery, for instance, of a disenfranchised branch of the Septime family and their involvement with the skirmish was a revelation indeed. When Cassinder assumed the throne upon the death of his mother, he was already middle-aged. Only half-elven, he aged like a Breton. In fact, he had left the rule of Weyris to his half-brother Uriel due to poor health. Nevertheless, as the only true blood relation of Pelagius and thus Tiber, he was pressed into accepting the throne. To no one's surprise, the Emperor Cassinder's reign did not last long. In 2 years he joined his predecessors in eternal slumber. Uriel Lariat, Cassinder's half-brother, and the child of Kateria I and her imperial consort Galavir Lariat, after the death of Pelagius III, left the kingdom of Weyris to reign as Uriel IV. Legally, Uriel IV was a Septime. Cassinder had adopted him into the royal family when he had become king of Weyris. Nevertheless, to the council and the people of Tamriel, he was a bastard child of Kateria. Uriel did not possess the dynamism of his mother, and his long 43-year reign was a hotbed of sedition. Uriel Ives' story is told in the 3rd volume of this series. A Brief History of the Empire. Part 3. By Stronic Cathouge III, Imperial Historian. The first volume of this series told in brief the story of the succession of the first 8 emperors of the Septime dynasty, from Tiber I to Kintyra II. The second volume described the War of the Red Diamond and the 6 emperors that followed its aftermath, from Uriel III to Cassinder I. At the end of that volume, it was described how the Emperor Cassinder's half-brother Uriel IV assumed the throne of the Empire of Tamriel. It will be recalled that Uriel IV was not a Septime by birth. His mother, though she reigned as Empress for many years, was a dark elf married to a true Septime Emperor, Pelagius III. Uriel's father was actually Kateria I's consort after Pelagius' death, a Breton nobleman named Galavir Lariat. Before taking the throne of Empire, Cassinder I had ruled the kingdom of Weyris, but poor health had forced him to retire. Cassinder had no children, so he legally adopted his half-brother Uriel and abdicated the kingdom. 7 years later, Cassinder inherited the empire at the death of his mother. 3 years after that, Uriel once again found himself the recipient of Cassinder's inheritance. Uriel Ives' reign was a long and difficult one. Despite being a legally adopted member of the Septime family, and despite the Lariat family's high position indeed, they were distant cousins of the Septimes. Few of the elder council could be persuaded to accept him fully as a blood descendant of Tiber. The council had assumed much responsibility during Kateria I's long reign and Cassinder I's short one, and a strong-willed alien monarch like Uriel IV found it impossible to command their unswerving fealty. Time and again the council and emperor were at odds, and time and again the council won the battles. Since the days of Pelagius II, the Elder Council had consisted of the wealthiest men and women in the empire, and the power they wielded was conclusive. The council's last victory over Ural IV was posthumous. Andoric, Ural I's son, was disinherited by votive council, and a cousin more closely related to the original Septime line was proclaimed Sepphoris II in 3E268. For the first 9 years of Sepphoris II's reign, those loyal to Andoric battled the imperial forces. In an act that the sage a reign called Tiber Septime's Heart Beating No More, the council granted Andoric the High Rock Kingdom of Shorenhelm to end the war, and Andoric's descendants still rule there. By and large, Sepphoris II had foes that demanded more of his attention than Andoric. From out of a Cimmerian nightmare, in the words of Arainine, a man who called himself the Cameron usurper led an army of Dedra and undead warriors on a rampage through Valenwood, conquering kingdom after kingdom. Few could resist his onslaughts, and his month turned to bloody month in the year 3E249. Even fewer tried. Sepphoris II sent more and more mercenaries into Hammerfall to stop the usurper's northward march, but they were bribed or slaughtered and raised as undead. The story of the Cameron usurper deserves a book of its own. It is recommended that the reader find Palaxilthur's The Fall of the Usurper for more detail. In short, however, the destruction of the forces of the usurper had little to do with the efforts of the emperor. The result was a great regional victory and an increase in hostility toward the seemingly inefficacious empire. Ural V, Sepphoris II's son and successor swiveled opinion back toward the latent power of the empire. Turning the attention of Tamriel away from internal strife, Ural V embarked on a series of invasions beginning almost from the moment he took the throne in 3E268. Ural V conquered Roskri in 271, Kathnoqui in 276, Anesli in 279, and Aroniad in 284. In 3E288, he embarked on his most ambitious enterprise, the invasion of the continent kingdom of Acaver. This ultimately proved a failure, for 2 years later Ural V was killed in Acaver on the battlefield of Ainith. Nevertheless, Ural V holds a reputation second only to Tiber as one of the 2 great warrior emperors of Tamriel. The last 4 emperors, beginning with Ural V's infant son, are described in the 4th and final volume of this series. A Brief History of the Empire. Part 4. By Stronic Cathoj III, Imperial Historian. The first book of this series described, in brief, the first 8 emperors of the Septime dynasty beginning with Tiber I. The second volume described the War of the Red Diamond and the 6 emperors who followed. The third volume described the troubles of the next 3 emperors, the frustrated Ural IV, the ineffectual Sepphoris II, and the heroic Ural V. On Ural V's death across the sea in distant, hostile Acaver, Ural VI was but 5 years old. In fact, Ural VI was born only shortly before his father left for Acaver. Ural V's only other progeny, by a morganatic alliance, were the twins Moraheth and Aloysa, who had been born a month after Ural V left. Ural VI was crowned in the 290th year of the Third Era. The imperial consort Thonica, as the boy's mother, was given a restricted regency until Ural VI reached his majority. The Elder Council retained the real power, as they had ever since the days of Kateria I. The council so enjoyed its unlimited and unrestricted freedom to promulgate laws and generate profits that Ural VI was not given full license to rule until 307, when he was already 22 years old. He had been slowly assuming positions of responsibility for years, but both the council and his mother, who enjoyed even her limited regency, were loath to hand over the reins. By the time he came to the throne, the mechanisms of government gave him little power except for that of the imperial veto. This power, however, he regularly and vigorously exercised. By 313, Earl 6 could boast with conviction that he truly did rule Tamriel. He utilized defunct spy networks and guard units to bully and coerce the difficult members of the Elder Council. His half-sister Morahatha was, not surprisingly, his staunchest ally, especially after her marriage to Baron Ulfgerson of Winterhold brought her considerable wealth and influence. As the sage Ugarich said, Earl V conquered Aroniad, but Earl 6 conquered the Elder Council. When Earl 6 fell off a horse and could not be resuscitated by the finest imperial healers, his beloved sister Morahatha took up. The imperial tiara. At 25 years of age, she had been described by, admittedly self-serving, diplomats as the most beautiful creature in all of Tamriel. She was certainly well-learned, vivacious, athletic, and a well-practiced politician. She brought the Archmagister of Skyrim to the imperial city and created the second imperial battlemage since the days of Tiber Septime. Morahatha finished the job her brother had begun, and made the imperial province a true government under the Empress, and later, the Emperor. Outside the imperial province, however, the empire had been slowly disintegrating. Open revolutions and civil wars had raged unchallenged since the days of her grandfather Sephirus II. Carefully coordinating her counterattacks, Morahatha slowly claimed back her rebellious vassals, always avoiding overextending herself. Though Morahatha's military campaigns were remarkably successful, her deliberate pace often frustrated the council. One councilman, an Argonian who took the Colovian name of Thoricles Romus, furious at her refusal to send troops to his troubled Black Marsh, is commonly believed to have hired the assassins who claimed her life in 339. Romus was summarily tried and executed, though he protested his innocence to the last. Morahatha had no surviving children, and Eloisa had died of a fever 4 years before. Eloisa's 25-year-old son Pelagius was thus crowned Pelagius IV. Pelagius IV continued his aunt's work, slowly bringing back under his wing the radical and refractory kingdoms, duchies, and baronies of the empire. He exercised Morahatha's poise and circumspect pace in his endeavors, but alas, he did not attain her success. The kingdoms had been free of constraint for so long that even a benign imperial presence was considered odious. Nevertheless, when Pelagius died after an astonishing 49-year reign, Tamriel was closer to unity than it had been since the days of Urulai. Our current emperor, His Awesome and Terrible Majesty, Earl Septime VII, son of Pelagius IV, has the diligence of his great-aunt Morahatha, the political skill of his great-uncle Earl VI, and the military prowess of his great-grand-uncle Earl V. For 21 years he reigned and brought justice and order to Tamriel. In the year 389, however, his imperial battlemage, Jagger Tharn, betrayed him. Earl 7 was imprisoned in a dimension of Tharn's creation, and Tharn used his sorcery of illusion to assume the Emperor's aspect. For the next 10 years, Tharn abused imperial privilege but did not continue Earl 7's schedule of reconquest. It is not yet entirely known what Tharn's goals and personal accomplishments were during the 10 years he masqueraded as his liege lord. In 399, an enigmatic champion defeated the battlemage in the dungeons of the Imperial Palace and freed Earl 7 from his other dimensional jail. Since his emancipation, Earl Septime VII has worked diligently to renew the battles that would reunite Tamriel. Tharn's interference broke their momentum, it is true, but the years since then have proven that there is hope of the golden age of Tiber Septime's rule glorifying Tamriel once again.
First, let me take your identification papers. Thank you. Word of your arrival only reached me yesterday. I am Caius Cosades. But my background is not important. I'm here to welcome you to Morrowind. I am Caius Cosades, and my errand of the Imperial Legion. We have garrisons at Fort Pelagiad in Pelagiad, Hawkmouth Fort in Ebonheart, Fort Moonmouth in Balmora, Fort Buckmouth in Eldrun, and Fort Darius in Gnesis. Were you looking to join the Imperial Legion? All the garrisons are presently at full strength, except, perhaps, the Death's Head Legion at Fort Darius in the West Gash near the village of Gnesis. If you're interested, you'll have to talk to General Darius there. Balmora is north of Cyrodiilic. The road passes Pelagiad village and Fort Pelagiad, crosses a deep ravine, passes Fort Moonmouth, then turns west across the Adai River and into Balmora. The South Wall Corner Club is in southeast Balmora, on the east side of the river. For more detailed directions, talk to Eloni the Scout at Errol's Trad House here in Cyrodiilic. But take my advice. You're new here. Take the Silk Strider to Balmora. Fast, cheap, safe. Cross the bridge and head east. Can't miss it. Yes, you're in Morrowind. I don't know why you're here, or why you were released from prison and shipped here, but your authorization comes directly from Emperor Euroseptime VII himself, and I don't need to know any more than that. When you leave this office, you are a free man. But before you go, I have instructions on your duties. Instructions from the Emperor, so pay careful attention. This package came with the news of your arrival. You are to take it to Caius Cosades in the town of Balmora. Go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for Caius Cosades. They'll know where to find him. Serve him as you would serve the Emperor himself. I also have a letter for you and a dispersal to your name. Report to Caius Cosades in Balmora. I can tell you where to find him, but you are to go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for him. Someone there can direct you to him. Silk Striders carry passengers and cargo between settlements on Verdun Fel. Fares depend on distance to be traveled. Silk Striders are giant insects. A compartment for passengers and cargo is hollowed from the creature's shell. The driver directs the beast by directly manipulating exposed organs and tissues. Silk Striders travel between Eldrun, Balmora, Cyrodiilic, Suran, Gnesis, Molag Mar, Margan, and North Landing near Vivek. Yes, Euroseptime is still the Emperor. According to my instructions, he personally authorized your release from prison and your delivery here. It's all very mysterious. But that's the way the Empire works. Silence. Secrecy. Let not the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Yes, of course this is the Empire. This is Verdun Fel District of the province of Morrowind. And Morrowind has been part of the Empire for over 400 years. The current Emperor is Euroseptime, 24th of the Septime line. You haven't been in prison that long, have you? Nothing wrong with your head, is there? The men said you were acting a little strange when they brought you in from the ship.
Are you the one that boat dropped off? Ought to see a boat arrive at that time of the day. Hope the Imperials treated you okay. I swear they took my ring. I swear one of the guards has it. I had it last week before their weekly. Let's shake down Fargoth. Ritual. An engraved healing ring, family heirloom of mine. You haven't seen it, have you? You found it. Amazing. Thank you, thank you. You are now my favorite friend. I'll be sure to tell the others, especially my friend Errol who runs the Trad House here. Go see him, he'll be happy to see you now.
Yes? What do you want? If you're looking to get out of Satanin, I'll be happy to give you a little advice. New here? Take the Silk Strider to Vivek or Balmora. Fast and cheap. No trouble with wild animals, and smugglers, and bandits, and outlaws. Go see Darvimler and over at the Strider port over the bridge and east along the water, and tell her Vadunya's new cheese sent you. Right. That's me. If you decide to take the Silk Strider, tell Darvimler and I sent you.
I haven't seen your dark elf face before. Would you like a little advice? Or are you looking for someone in particular? You look like you can take care of yourself. Then why don't you do something about those smugglers in Adam Sarda's cave? It's right over there near the Silk Strider port. Yet these
Go
guards...
ahead, Outlander. What do you need?
Just trotting around. Someone must have paid them to ignore the smuggling going on here. The Altmer Earl runs Erlstrad House. Secutia Sergala is the chief agent at the Census and Excise offices. We Altmer are proud, wise, and beautiful. The Empire is built on the arts, crafts, and sciences of the High Elves. Our pure blood protects us from disease and makes us superior spellcrafters.
I'm listening.
The day is yours.
So, Aida, you're new to Satanin, and you'd like some help finding your way around. Very sensible. Go ahead. Ask away. Looking for services? Some specific place? Someone in particular? Just need a little advice. Whatever it is, I'd be happy to help.
Yes?
I heard there has been some trouble up at Fort Frosmuth. Never heard of it? It's on an island called Solstheim north of Verdun Fel. That's the frozen island up to the north, right? Sounds awful to me. If you are looking to get there, you might check for transportation and coal. Get food and sundries from Erlstrad House. That's also where you'll find anyone who offers training. Not much else in the way of services in this damn little squat. Some rough customers come into town now and then for supplies. I think they might be smugglers and bandits holed up locally. Be doing a public service to clean them up, and might find yourself some nice loot in the bargain. You're an outlander, maybe you don't know about the kinds of Dedric ruins we have here in Morrowind. Dedra cults worship the bad Dedra. You can learn more about that at the temple. Anyway, long ago, before the temple put a stop to it, people used to worship bad Dedra Molag Bal, Malakath, Sheogorath, and Maronstegan at Dedra shrines. But lately, since the Empire came in, some people have taken up worshipping the bad Dedra at these old sites. And I warn you, these are dangerous places. Welcome to Satanin, stranger. Is there some specific place you were looking for? The Altmer Earl runs Erlstrad House. Secutia Sergala is the chief agent at the Census and Excise offices.
Is there something you need?
Welcome to Erlstrad House. I barter for goods or coin. I also have a small selection of spells for sale. No credit. You'll want a little advice. That's free. That's all that's free. Would you like to hear about our most popular potions? Our most popular scrolls? If you want to live to a ripe old age, buy a weapon and as much armor as you can wear and still run from trouble. Buy a spell or two, and practice your skills. Don't practice on citizens. We call that foul murder, and we don't like it. But you can kill smugglers and bandits and other outlaws all you like. Outlaws have no rights. Plenty of adventurers make a living from killing and looting outlaws. That smugglers come down in Verdun Sardis, for instance. The cave down near the Sealed Strider platform. Practice on creatures, and outlaws, and anyone who attacks you first. When in doubt, run away. And if you attack a citizen by accident, don't kill him. Turn yourself into a guard, pay your fine, and clear your name, or people will treat you like an outlaw. Cure common disease and cure blight disease potions are most popular with travelers. Fortify strength, endurance, speed, agility are very helpful in combat. Fortify personality is popular with merchants and shy persons. Of course, fortify fatigue keeps you fighting at your best. Restore health and restore fatigue are perhaps our most popular items. And for a short burst of power during a fight, you can't beat grief, shine, flin, mask, and sujama. Vigor and vitality are our best-selling bargain items, restoring fatigue and health, respectively. Omzivi Intervention and Divine Intervention transport you instantly to the nearest temple or nearest Imperial Shrine, good for routine or emergency transportation. Heartwise helps with persuasion. Summon Skeletal Minion brings help in a jiffy. And Drathis Winterguest does a lot of damage at a touch, handy to whittle a too tough opponent down to size.
May I help you?
An honor, to be sure.
Speak up. Speak up.
You've got my ear. Let's hear it.
Go ahead. You're not interrupting anything. I'm Aloni, Scout. You need directions? Pelagiad? Balmora? Caldera? Obanhart? Vivek? Balmora is the district seat of House Hila-Lu and the largest settlement on Verdun Fel after Vivek City. Good roads lead north from here to Balmora, passing through Fort Pelagiad and Pelagiad Village. From Balmora, roads lead north to Uldrun through the town of Caldera. Maybe I'd better write down the directions to Balmora for you. It's a long walk, and a little confusing. Caldera is a recently chartered imperial town and mining corporation north of Balmora on the road to Uldrun. The Caldera Mining Company has been granted an imperial monopoly to remove raw ebony from the rich deposits here. Caldera is a new town, recently built in the Western Imperial style, and most of the citizens are outlanders and new colonists. Obanhart is south on the road from Pelagiad, built on the western shore of the water-founded city of Vivek. Obanhart is the seat of the imperial government for Verdun Fel District and a busy center of maritime trade. Castle Obanhart is the home of Duke Vadumdrin, the district's ruler and emperor's representative. Also located at Castle Obanhart are the Verdun Fel District Council Chambers and the Hawkmoth Legion garrison. The East Empire Company has its headquarters in Obanhart. A terrible place, I've heard. There's a boat from Kull, if you have any reason to go. Pelagiad is a newly chartered imperial village on the road north from Vivek to Balmora, right on the western edge of the Ascadian Isles region. The village is right outside the Imperial Legion garrison at Fort Pelagiad. The houses and shops are built in the Western Imperial style, and Pelagiad looks more like a village in the Western Empire than a Morrowind settlement. Vivek City is south on the road from Pelagiad. Vivek is the largest settlement on Verdun Fel, and one of the largest cities in the east. Built on Norvane Bay, completely surrounded by water, the city itself is a group of giant town-sized buildings called cantons. The High Fane and the Palace of Vivek are visited by hundreds of tourists and pilgrims daily. Outlanders mostly confine themselves to the foreign canton, while natives live, work, and shop in the great house compounds and residential cantons. Only recently open to settlement and trade, most of Verdun Fel's population is confined to the relatively hospitable west and southwest coast, centered around the ancient city of Vivek and the old great house district centers at Balmora, Uldrun, and Cyrodiilic. Verdun Fel District is one of the 6 administrative districts of the Imperial Province of Morrowind. Verdun Fel District consists of the island of Verdun Fel with its great house and imperial settlements and the city of Thieves, surrounded by the inland sea and dominated by the titanic volcano Red Mountain and its associated ash wastelands. The province of Morrowind consists of 6 administrative districts. These are Velothis District, Narcissus District, Deshan District, Verdun Fel District, Mournhold District and Telvanus District. Each is ruled over by an imperial duke, and holds at least one major Dunmer city. Although not strictly divided into geographic regions, each tends to have its own distinctive terrain. Verdun Fel has 9 regions, each with their own plans and terrain. They are called the Ascadian Isles, the Ashlands, Azurus Coast, the Bitter Coast, the Grisellands, Molag Gamer, Red Mountain, West Gash, and Sheogorid.
Where would you like to go?
This is the seaport village of Cyrodiilic, Outlander in the Bitter Coast region. I'm a caravaner, and I manage the Silt Strider port here. Tell me your destination, if you are looking for a ride. Or if you are new to Cyrodiilic, I can help you with local services or any specific place in Cyrodiilic you're looking for. Or if you want someone in particular, maybe I know where to look. Oh, yes. He steers business my way, and I do him a little favor now and then. Poor fellow. I don't think he's happy here in Morrowind.
Why walk when you can ride?
Good day, stranger. Welcome to Balmora, council seat of House Hila-Alu. I'm your local caravaner, and I hope can find you a Silt Strider travel to your destination. Or, if you are new to Balmora, can I help you with local services? Do you need someone in particular? Or is there a specific place in Balmora I can help you find? South Wall is a working-class corner club in Balmora, east of Adai River on the south end of Labor Street, owned by Ricola Colossus.
What's your story?
Good day. I'm Ricola Colossus, publican of the South Wall here in Balmora. We rent beds, and I have a limited selection of goods for barter. If you are new here, I can also tell you where to look for other services or a specific place nearby. If you are looking for someone in particular, I may be able to help. Speaking. I'm the owner and proprietor of the South Wall. Old Caius rents a little bed and basket just up the hill on the north edge of town. Go out the front door and out the upper door to the terrace and then right up the stairs, then left at the top of the stairs and down to the end of the street.
Hello. I don't know if I can help you, but I'll try.
What can Jeet do for you?
Are you looking for me? You want to join the Thieves Guild? Sugar Lips Hobossi does nothing important. Greetings, citizen. I'm Cyrodiilic. Welcome to Balmora. We're a house law LU town and loyal citizens of the Empire. What can I do for you? Bacola Colossus? He's the owner. He must be around here somewhere. The old grey hair gobbles sugar like scuttle. Cyrodiilic is surprised he still works. But it doesn't affect him. That is the mark of a long-time user. Everyone knows the Balmora magistrate, Nolus Atrios, is on the take. Thieves, thugs, and murderers are getting ridiculous sentences or paying a drake and walking free. But they'll never get Adrias. He's got fat cats and family back in the city to cover him. The Legion champion, Marius Varro, over at Moonmouth Legion Fort, he has sworn an oath to stop corruption. But I don't see what he can...
Sweet moon sugar. It suffers wounds. From where do you hail? Head on. Yes, Outlander, what do you want?
Greetings, citizen. I'm Drelsi Aravi. This town is Balmora, council seat of House Hila'alu. We're loyal citizens of the Empire, and proud of it. Well, most of us, anyway. So, are you looking for someone in particular? Are you looking for services? Is there some specific place you'd like to visit? Would you like me to tell you about my trade? None of the Hila'alu councillors live in Balmora. Nalino Dorvain at the council hall is the ranking Hila'alu local. At the Fighters Guild, Adis Firai is the steward. F.A. Cyrodiilic is the Maragtong steward. Feldrilosidri is the steward for the Balmora Tribunal Temple. Sugarlips Hobossi is the local Thieves Guild boss. Who am I missing? Oh, Mages Guild. Ronnie's Athres is their steward. Ida. You have been given these directions and a package of documents. Do not show them to anyone. Do not attempt to read the documents in the package. The package has been sealed, and your tampering will be discovered and punished. Follow these directions. Proceed to the town of Balmora in Verdun Fel District. Report to a man named Caius Cosades. He will be your superior and patron. You will follow his orders. His residence is not known, but ask at the corner club called Southwall. People there will know where to find Caius Cosades. When you report to Caius Cosades, deliver the package of documents to him, and wait for further orders. Remember, you owe your life and freedom to the Emperor. Serve him well, and you will be rewarded. Betray him, and you will suffer the fate of all traitors. I have the honor to prepare this at the direction of His Most Sovereign Majesty the Emperor Ural Septime Labrio Bellinus, Personal Secretary to the Emperor. From Saint-Denis to Balmora by road. From Saint-Denis, leave the village by the North Bridge, Then follow the road east past the Siltstrider port. East of Satanin, the road heads northeast through the ridge and intersects the northwest-southeast road. Turn left, northwest, and pass the village of Pelagiad on your right. The road continues north, then swings northeast until it reaches a four-way intersection. The road to Balmora turns left, northwest, and descends into Foya de Mimia, a deep volcanic ravine. The road follows the ravine northeast for a short distance, then turns left and climbs out of the ravine to the northwest. North of the ravine, pass Fort Moonmouth on the right and come to an intersection with a signpost. Head due west towards Balmora. Two small bridges cross the Adai River. On the west side of the river, go north, passing the Siltstrider port and entering the walls of Balmora. Mind the signposts and be careful. In bad weather or darkness, it is easy to stray from the road.
What? Yes, I'm Caius Cosades. But what do you mean, you were told to? Report to Caius Cosades. Question mark. What are you talking about? I'm just an old man with a skooma problem. So, you say your name is Aida, and you've been told to report to me and deliver a package. Perhaps you'll let me look at it? Yes, very interesting. So, it says here the Emperor wants me to make you a novice in the blades, and that means you will be following my orders. Are you ready to follow my orders, Aida? Good. Welcome to the service, Novice Aida. Now you belong to the Blades. We are the Emperor's eyes and ears in the provinces. You can use my bed if you need to rest, but leave my personal stuff alone unless I say otherwise. If you like, you can improve your modest skills with our Blades trainers now. Or if you're in a hurry, I can give you orders right away. But don't forget to visit the Blades trainers. First thing, Pilgrim. You knew, and you look it. Here's 200 drakes. Go get yourself a decent weapon, or armor, or a spell. And second thing, you need a cover identity. Around here, freelance adventurer is a common profession. Sign on with the Fighters Guild, or Mages Guild, or Imperial Cult, or Imperial Legion, advance in the ranks, gain skill and experience. Or go out on your own, look for freelance work, or trouble. Then, when you're ready, come back and I'll have orders for you. You can always just wander around and ask for work. Hunt monsters and sell their hides. Collect ingredients for alchemists. Prey on bandits and smugglers. Search ruins for loot. All you need are better skills and conditioning and knowledge of Morrowind. And spend what you earn on equipment and training. Then come back a little less wet behind the ears, and I won't have to worry so much about you when I send you out on a mission. These Blades agents offer training. Not free, of course, but cheap for a fellow agent. Look for Rifleen, Tyremelon, and Mantos here in Balmora. In Caldera, see Cyrodiilic Orion. In Eldrun, see Galen. Shivar Horsemouth lives in a hut west of Eldrun. And Aloni the Scout can be found at Errol's Trad House in Satanin. The Fighters Guild is a professional organization chartered by the Emperor to regulate the hiring and training of mercenaries. Training, goods, and services are cheaper for members, and the Guild stewards know where to find work. You'll have to start your service with Adis Firai, the Balmora Guild steward. She's new, and I don't know her well. Persis Mercis, the Ultron Guild steward, I know and trust, but he only handles higher-ranking assignments. It's a guild for the arcane arts, and it's where you go to find wizards for hire. Training, goods, and services are cheaper for members, and the guild stewards know where to find work. If you want to be a wizard, join and work your way up the ranks. The Mages Guild here is a better bet than the Fighters Guild. Ronnie's Athres is the guild steward, so talk to her if you want to join up. She's got a chip on her shoulder, but her apprentice, Ajira, seems okay for a Tajiit.
Well, hello there. A pleasure to meet you.
Report to Caius Cosades. My orders are to go to the town of Balmora in Verdun Fel District and report to a man named Caius Cosades. To find out where he lives, I should ask in Balmora at the corner club called Southwall. When I find Caius Cosades, I must give him a package of documents and wait for further orders. Aloni at Erl's Trad House gave me detailed directions to Balmora. Bucola Clausus says Caius Cosades rents a little bed and basket up the hill from the south wall. Go right up the stairs from the front door, then left at the top of the stairs and down to the end of the street. I have given Caius Cosades the package of documents. And, by the Emperor's command, Caius Cosades has inducted me into the Blades, the Imperial Intelligence Service, with the rank of novice. Caius Cosades will be my spymaster, and I'll follow his orders. Spymaster Caius Cosades gave me 200 gold to spend as I please. And he also told me to establish a cover identity as a freelance adventurer. He suggested I join the Fighters Guild, or Mages Guild, or Imperial Cult, advance in the ranks, gain skill and experience, or go out on my own, hit freelance work. Then, when I'm ready, I come back to Caius for orders.